Poor Girl's Heartwarming Plea, CEO's incredible discovery reveals 9 hidden truths about her son. Emma stood outside the local diner, the comforting sounds of sizzling bacon and clinking dishes echoing through Main Street. At 16, her world felt small, its corners tight with the struggles of a single-parent household. But her eyes sparkled with dreams bigger than the town itself, dreams she nurtured like a fragile flower. Her younger brother, Tommy, looked up to her with admiration that made her feel like a superhero. Life wasn't easy, working late shifts at the grocery store and the coffee shop after school drained her, but she carried those burdens like a badge of honor. Then came the gala, a charity event that ignited excitement all around, especially with the return of Mr. Harris, the CEO who had once risen from their little town to make it great in the tech industry. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was her chance, her opportunity to shift the narrative of their lives. But as she glanced down at her worn shoes, a wave of doubt crashed over her. She took a deep breath, the smell of coffee filling the air, and steeled herself. "Emma!" Tommy called out, his voice bright. The little boy wore a big smile that brought warmth to her heart, reminding her why she pushed on. She walked toward the venue, determined to pour her soul out to the man who could change everything. As the night slipped into focus, the gala buzzed around her. She made her way through the crowd, her heart pounding harder with each step closer to Mr. Harris. There he was, chatting amiably, the light catching the buttons on his shiny suit. Emma's nerves danced like fireflies in her stomach, but she pressed on. "Mr. Harris?" she ventured, her voice trembling. He turned, an inquisitive smile lighting up his face. "I'm Emma. I know we come from different worlds, but I wanted you to know about my family." At first, there was uncertainty in his eyes, but Emma continued, her emotions rising. "My brother looks up to me, and I want a better future for him. You've had the privilege to succeed, but we struggle. I want to break this cycle." Tears brimmed her eyes as she spoke of her brother's innocent dreams and their veteran brother who battled PTSD. A mere helping hand could shift our path. Just as she shared her truth, she sensed Mr. Harris's breathing quickening. For the first time, she saw a flicker of recognition cross his face, a glimmer of the struggles that haunted many. But before she could sense his empathy, the cacophony of the gala swallowed her words, doubt creeping in. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Emma's heart sank as Mr. Harris moved on, swept away by the glittering tide of wealth and connections. The laughter and chatter around her felt deafening, drowning out her resolve. Had she been too naive to think a single conversation could change anything? Days passed, but Emma couldn't shake her encounter with Mr. Harris. Little did she know, hidden truths about her family's struggles were about to come to light, igniting a change that would affect their small town forever. But what would it take for a bridge to form between their worlds? Would hope come from the most unexpected places? Emma tightened her grip on her brother's little hand, determined to find out, and the storm was brewing just beneath the surface. Emma sat on the porch steps, the evening sky swirling with hues of purple and orange as dusk began to settle over their small town. Tommy played nearby, his laughter ringing through the air like music. She watched him, her heart swelling with both pride and worry. So much rested on her shoulders, and sometimes it felt like the weight would crush her spirit. It had been a full week since the gala. A week filled with work, school, and sleepless nights where doubts gnawed at her heart. Did Mr. Harris even remember her? Was her plea just another forgotten moment in a sea of insignificance? She leaned back, resting her head against the weathered wood of the porch, letting her mind drift. Just then, a car pulled into the driveway, and Emma shot up, her heart racing at the unexpected sight of the sleek vehicle. A figure stepped out, and Emma squinted to see it more clearly. It was none other than Mr. Harris himself, his tall frame filling the entrance with an air of authority. "Emma," he called, his voice warm yet tinged with something she couldn't quite place. "Can we talk?" Stunned, Emma's legs moved before her mind could catch up. She rushed down the steps and met him halfway, her heart thudding loudly in her ears. "Mr. Harris. I didn't expect to see you here." He smiled gently, but there was a seriousness in his eyes. "I've been thinking a lot about our conversation. I want to hear more about your story." Emma's breath hitched. The perfect opportunity sent a jolt of adrenaline coursing through her. "Really? You're serious?" "Absolutely," he said, scanning the surroundings as if sensing the weight of her life's reality. "You were saying something that night that struck a chord with me. I want to know more. About your brother, and what you and your family are going through." With every word he spoke, Emma felt the walls she'd built around her heart begin to crumble ever so slightly. She took a step closer, her emotions unraveling as she started to share the details of their lives, the tiny apartment they called home, her late-night shifts, and their veteran brother's struggles. As she painted the picture of their daily fight, she noticed Mr. Harris's expression grew more somber. He seemed to absorb every word. "There's so much I want to do, but I don't know where to start," she confessed, her voice quivering. "I want to make a difference for Tommy, for all of us." Mr. Harris nodded, his brow knitted in thought. "It takes courage to stand up and ask for help. You've done that, and that says a lot about you. But have you ever considered starting something in this town that could change the lives of not just your family, but others like you?" Emma's mind raced, her heart pounding as images of hope stirred within her. "You mean like a community project?" "Yes. Something that could empower young people here, give them resources, and connect them with opportunities." Emma's heart fluttered at the idea. "I've always dreamed of helping other kids like Tommy, kids who feel stuck. Let's make that dream a reality. Together." His voice held a promise she hadn't anticipated. Suddenly, her worries didn't feel so heavy. Maybe they could break the cycle, the weight of the past slowly lifting as possibility took its place, and then she heard a voice from behind, breaking the moment. "Emma? Is everything okay?" It was Tommy, his small face filled with concern. She turned to him, a smile breaking out across her face. It wasn't just a smile of hope, it was a smile that said they were on the verge of something big. "Everything's going to be okay, buddy," she assured him, determination rushing through her veins. But as Mr. Harris and Emma exchanged meaningful glances, she couldn't help but wonder if stepping into this unknown path would bring them the change they so desperately needed or lead them somewhere darker. What awaited them next was still cloaked in uncertainty. Would they find allies willing to join their cause? Would their small town come together? One thing was certain, Emma was ready to take the plunge, but not without a lingering fear of what it might cost. As they discussed next steps, shadows crept over the horizon, hinting at the challenges to come, and Emma felt the stirring of a storm just beyond the edge of the town, setting the stage for what lay ahead. Emma shifted her gaze back to Tommy, who was still watching her with wide, trusting eyes. His innocence reminded her of everything she fought for. "I want to help kids like you, Tommy," she whispered, her resolve hardening. She felt Mr. Harris take a gentle step closer, as if he were becoming a part of this moment, not just an observer. "Let's brainstorm some ideas," he said, his tone earnest. "What do you think the kids in this town need most? What resources would help them?" Emma felt a spark ignite within her. They need encouragement. They need to know there's more out there for them. Programs, tutoring, maybe even after-school activities, things that make them feel valued. "That's a great start," Mr. Harris replied, his eyes lighting up. "Let's build on that. What about a community center? Somewhere that offers all these services and more?" "A center?" Tommy echoed, excitement bubbling in his voice. "Like a clubhouse?" "Exactly." Mr. Harris laughed, and Emma couldn't help but join in. The idea flowed through her veins, thoughts of kids gathering, laughing, learning. We could start by assessing what the community feels is missing. The key is to get the town involved. Do you think people would be interested in supporting this? Emma nodded, a burning sense of purpose washing over her. I know some neighbors who would be eager to help. Mrs. Hargrove loves organizing events. She could help with fundraising. And the local businesses might get behind it. Everyone wants a better future for their kids. A glimmer of hope filled the air between them. They talked late into the evening, voices weaving dreams of a brighter tomorrow. Each idea sparked another, and Emma's worries began to fade as visions of laughter and joy took shape in her mind. But as the conversation continued, a nagging thought lingered at the back of her head. What if they failed? What if her dream crumbled, just like so many others before it? Just before Mr. Harris left, he placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Emma, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Trust in the process. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a single decision. Are you ready to take that step? As the night deepened, Emma felt a mix of exhilaration and fear. For the first time in a long while, she believed in the possibility of real change. Looking from Mr. Harris back to Tommy, she felt like they were on the brink not just of a project, but of something that could impact this entire town. Tomorrow, I'll talk to Mrs. Hargrove and see where to go from here, she said, determination in her voice. Just then, Tommy broke in. I can help too. I can tell my friends. The way he lit up made Emma's heart swell with pride. They weren't just thinking about themselves anymore, this was about everybody. For the first time, they were a team, but as they retreated inside leaving the vibrant sunset behind, Emma couldn't shake her doubts. What would happen if the community didn't rally behind them, or worse, if they turned their back? That night, as she fell into restless sleep, the weight of her dreams mingled with the haunting fear of leaving the past behind. Would she have the strength to endure whatever lies ahead? And when morning came, would it truly be the dawn of something new, or just another day fraught with the same struggles? As the sun rose, Emma took a deep breath and felt a shift in the air, hinting at the challenges just around the corner. Morning light streamed through Emma's window, painting the room in soft hues of gold. She blinked awake, the weight of her resolve still heavy in her chest. Today was crucial. She threw off her covers and sat up, taking a moment to collect her thoughts. She had a plan. It was time to make it work. As she got dressed, she replayed the previous night's conversation in her mind. It felt like a burst of energy, a call to action. She could already see Tommy's bright face, smiling as he rallied his friends to join the cause. But a nagging worry tugged at her. What if they didn't respond? What if her efforts were met with indifference? After a quick breakfast, Emma stepped out into the crisp morning air. The world felt different today, buzzing with potential. The streets were lined with colorful flowers blooming in front yards, a reminder that beauty could spring up even in the unlikeliest of places. She spotted Mrs. Hargrove, who was out collecting her mail. Emma summoned her courage and approached. Good morning, Mrs. Hargrove. Emma called, her voice steady. Mrs. Hargrove turned, her smile warm and inviting. Good morning, dear. What brings you out so early? Emma took a deep breath. I wanted to talk to you about an idea I have. She quickly explained the vision for the community center, lighting up as she spoke about the possibilities. The sparkle in her eyes reflected not only her excitement but deep-seated hope for change. Mrs. Hargrove listened intently, nodding along. That sounds wonderful, Emma. We need something like this in our town. The kids deserve a place where they can feel safe and supported. The more Emma shared, the more energy she felt. I was hoping you could help me rally some support, maybe organize a fundraiser. Oh, absolutely. I can help promote it through my book club and local network. Everyone wants better opportunities for our children, Mrs. Hargrove said, her enthusiasm infectious. Emma could hardly contain her smile. Thank you. I know that if we work together, we can make a difference. As they chatted about details, Emma's confidence grew. Plans began to unfold in a way that felt almost magical. Together, they came up with ideas for bake sales and yard sales, perhaps even a community fun run. "Let us set a date for the first meeting," Mrs. Hargrove suggested. "We need to gather people who are excited about the future." Emma felt a surge of determination. "Yes. Let us do it. The sooner, the better." As they finalized their plans, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. She left Mrs. Hargrove's porch with a lightness in her step, the shadows of doubt starting to lift. Later that afternoon, she walked through the streets, her mind racing with possibilities. She could already visualize the community center bustling with activity, kids laughing, parents chatting, learning, and growth happening all around. But just as she began to feel invincible, her heart jumped. A car slowed down beside her, and the window rolled down. It was Mark, the local businessman, driving his sleek truck. "Hey, Emma," he called out, his expression friendly yet guarded. "What are you up to?" She hesitated, unsure if she should share her dreams just yet. But then she remembered her resolve. "I'm working on a community project trying to create a center for kids in town. I think it could really help bring us together." Mark raised an eyebrow, his interest piqued. "A community center? You think the town would back something like that?" Emma nodded vigorously, her passion igniting once more. "I believe they will. It's time for change, and people want to be involved." "Interesting. Keep me posted." "I might be able to help if it's worth my time," he replied, the skepticism in his voice making her stomach twist. As the truck pulled away, self-doubt crept back in. What if Mark's support was conditional? What if he was right and the town didn't care? Determined to push those thoughts aside, Emma steeled herself for what lay ahead. She had started gathering her team, but would anyone else join her cause? With an indomitable spirit, she headed home. She knew she had to reach out further, to gain traction. It was time to turn her dreams into reality. But what would happen when she faced the first obstacle? Would support crumble, or would they find strength in numbers? The journey was only just beginning, and Emma felt a storm of emotions brewing ahead. Emma slipped through her front door, the weight of the world still pressing down on her shoulders. The house was quiet, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of thoughts that filled her head. She could feel her pulse quickening as she paced the living room, replaying every encounter and every conversation in her mind. What if this was just a dream destined to fall apart? With a sigh, she picked up her phone, fingers hovering over the screen. She thought about calling Tommy, the boy who had sparked her initiative with his innocent desire for a safe place to play. His laughter echoed in her ears, giving her an instant boost. Taking a breath, she sent him a quick text, "Hey. I'd love to talk about the community center. Can you meet me after school?" While she waited for a response, visions of the center danced in her head. Bright colors, laughter, and the sound of children playing echoed within the walls of her imagination. She envisioned a space where every child felt valued, where they could connect, learn, and grow. It felt so close, yet so far. The ping of her phone pulled her back to reality. Tommy's reply arrived almost instantly, "Absolutely. I can bring some friends too." Excited. Her heart fluttered. This was a sign, wasn't it? If Tommy was this enthusiastic, surely others would be too. Gathering her courage, she decided to make an even bolder move. She opened her contacts and scrolled until she found Mrs. Hargrove's name. With a few taps, she sent a message, "Tommy wants to bring friends to our meeting. Could you come too?" Minutes later, Mrs. Hargrove replied, expressing her delight. Emma felt warmth blooming in her chest at the thought of their little team growing. If they could gather a few more supporters, they might be able to make real progress. The hours dragging into evening felt like a lifetime. Emma decided to use the time wisely. She pulled out her notebook, flipping to a fresh page. As she sketched out ideas for the meeting, her thoughts began to flow freely: activities for the kids, workshops for parents, a corner dedicated to art and creativity. Each word she wrote filled her with more determination. Later that night, when she crawled into bed, she couldn't shake her excitement. The meeting loomed in her mind like a beacon. It would be a chance for them to plant seeds of hope and collaboration. She was ready, brimming with ideas and fresh energy. But doubts lingered like shadows at her side. What if the turnout was small? What if they faced backlash from those who didn't understand their mission? The night passed slowly, filled with visions of bustling activity at the center, but also flashes of doubt that threatened to crush her spirit. The next morning, she woke up with a renewed vigor. It was finally time to put her plan into action. As she made her way to the school, excitement bubbling within her, she noticed a group of kids playing at the park. They were laughing and chasing each other, the sheer joy in their laughter stirring something deep inside her. Emma abruptly halted, feeling a wave of emotion wash over her. This was what it was all about: the possibility of providing a safe space for every child's laughter. A place where threats from the outside world dared not enter. Soon, Emma found herself standing outside the school, where she met Tommy and a few of his friends. Their faces lit up when they saw her, and she realized they were just as eager to learn more about her vision. "Are you ready, guys?" she asked, her heart racing with hope. "Yeah!" they shouted in unison, and the sheer enthusiasm ignited a flame within her. As they walked to the library for the meeting, she knew they were on the cusp of something grand. But deep down, she still felt that flicker of uncertainty, wondering if the support they needed would ultimately show up and whether they could truly make a mark in their community. As they entered the room, Emma was taken aback by how the atmosphere shifted. Voices mingled, laughter echoed, there was a stirring of excitement. Little did she know, this gathering would change everything. Would it bring together the community, or would it expose deep divisions? Only time would tell. What awaited them in that room could either solidify their dream or begin to unravel it faster than they could imagine. Emma stepped into the library, the sound of chatter enveloping her like a warm embrace. The walls, once dull and lifeless in her memory, felt vibrant and alive with energy, each voice contributing to the chorus of anticipation. She glanced around, trying to spot familiar faces among the crowd. Kids from school, parents she recognized, and even a few she didn't filled the rows of chairs. It was a small crowd, yet it felt monumental. "Hey, ladies and gentlemen!" Emma called out, her voice stronger than she expected. Silence fell, and she felt the weight of everyone's attention on her. A shiver ran down her spine. "I'm so glad you all came. We're here because we want to make our community center happen for all the amazing kids in this neighborhood." Tommy beamed from near the front, his friends nodding enthusiastically as some of the parents exchanged looks that ranged from skeptical to curious. Emma took a deep breath, her heart thumping like a drum, urging her to push through the moment. "We want a place where children can play safely, learn new things, and be creative. A community center that welcomes everyone." She gestured to the kids beside her, who were bubbling with excitement. The room buzzed with murmurs. Emma could sense the hesitation in the air. One of the parents, a tall man with a stern expression, stood up, leveling a gaze that intimidated her. "And what makes you think you can manage something like this? What experience do you have?" Emma's stomach dropped. Questions like that had crossed her mind too. But she couldn't let doubt take over now. "I might not have experience," she admitted, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "But I have passion, and I have people willing to help. We have ideas to make this work, but we can't do it alone." A ripple of whispers moved through the crowd. Some looked intrigued, others still unconvinced. She felt Tommy shift beside her, his youthful innocence bolstering her confidence. "I want our kids to grow up strong and joyful," Emma continued, her voice gaining momentum. "And I believe that starts with a place where they can come together, learn, and play without worries. Think of the potential we could unlock." Just then, she spotted Mrs. Hargrove entering the room. The older woman smiled warmly at Emma, giving her a thumbs up before moving to a nearby seat. Emma's heart swelled with a sense of companionship and support. "All right, how do we make this happen?" A young mother finally spoke up from the back, her voice tentative but curious. Emma seized the opportunity. "Great question. We have a few ideas on activities and workshops we could offer. If we work together, we can create a list of things this community really needs, things that will draw everyone in." As ideas began to fly around the room, Emma found hope in the enthusiasm of those gathered. They were brainstorming about art classes, games, even a community garden. By the time they reached the end of their discussion, the atmosphere had shifted from skepticism to collaboration, but just as she thought the momentum was building, the stern man from earlier interjected again. "What will happen if we don't get the funding? What's your backup plan?" The air thickened with tension. Emma felt the words swirling in her mind. What was her backup plan? Could she deliver beyond just hope and excitement? She looked at the little faces shining with eagerness, the adults leaning in with interest, and she knew this was her moment. "Together we can fundraise, we can petition, and we can reach out to our local businesses," Emma responded, her voice rising with passion. "If we all believe in this, we can make it happen." As the crowd began to murmur again, her heart raced. Something had changed, the energy was palpable, but it was mixed with uncertainty. Could they truly push past the fears and make this place a reality? And if so, what sacrifices would they have to make to ensure it stayed alive? The possibilities felt endless, and just as fear began to tap at her heels again, a child raised his hand, an unexpected voice in the crowd. Emma looked down, anticipation churning within her. "What if we lose it all?" he asked softly, innocence laced with worry. The room fell silent again, Emma's heart stalling. Would she be able to answer him? And what kind of leader would she be if she couldn't reassure him? Her breath caught, the weight of expectations hung heavy in the moment. As she searched for the right words, uncertainty crept back in, holding the air hostage. Would the fire of their ambitions diminish before it even sparked? What would come next depended on her response, and the answer could change everything. The silence in the room felt suffocating, each second stretching painfully long as Emma searched for her words. She could feel the little boy's gaze piercing through her, filled with a kind of innocence that made her heart ache. Emma knew that the trust of the crowd hinged on her response, and if she faltered here, it could unravel everything they had just built. "Losing it all," she echoed softly, her voice barely above a whisper at first. The room leaned in, their eyes focused on her like a spotlight. Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself and continued, "I get that fear. But what's even scarier is not trying at all. If we don't try, we'll never know what we could create together." A glimmer of understanding sparked in the parents' eyes. Emma could see them starting to connect, her fear mirrored in their own. "Every great thing began with the risk of failure," she pressed on, "but every little step we take brings us closer to what this community needs. We can't let the fear of losing hold us back from all we could gain." Tommy nodded, and Emma drew strength from his unwavering belief. She could see the adults whispering, some of them softening in their expressions, the tension ebbing away ever so slightly. It felt like a breakthrough, but she needed more. "I promise," Emma added, her heart racing, "if we start this journey together, we'll navigate these challenges side by side. It might be scary, but we'll be a team. We'll support each other and find ways to keep it alive." The young mother who had asked about getting it started chimed in again. "What kind of support can we offer? What will really help?" Emma felt her pulse quickening with renewed hope. "We'll need everyone's strengths. We can hold fundraisers, host events, search for grants. Some of you might have connections that could help us." The ideas flowed from her like a burst of energy, contagious and vibrant, igniting the room. Mrs. Hargrove raised her hand eagerly. "I can help with organizing the events. I've got a few ideas already in mind." Her enthusiasm seemed to cascade through the crowd, pulling more people into the discussion. "I've got a cousin who runs a bakery," shouted another parent, sparking more voices to join in. As the room buzzed with ideas, the earlier fear began to dissolve, replaced by a thrill of collective hope. Emma couldn't help but smile, the flicker of doubt she had felt just moments ago transformed into fire. They were beginning to believe, to feel this community center could be a real place, a sanctuary for the kids. Just as they were merging details and brainstorming logistics, the stern man stood up again, his expression firm yet slightly softened. "And what about sustainability? What if it can't run forever?" Emma's heart sank a bit at the question, feeling the shift again. But she steadied herself. "That's where we come in together. If we build this with care and passion, it won't be just me keeping it alive, it will be all of us. With ongoing involvement and ideas from everyone, we can create something that lasts. That's how we win." When she finished speaking, silence fell again, but this time it was different. It was filled with contemplation rather than doubt. The adults looked at one another, considering the magnitude of what they could achieve together, and then, another child spoke up. "But what happens if nobody shows up?" Shivers shot through Emma. The question lingered heavy in the air. It echoed her own worries, the same apprehension hidden beneath her bravado. The room fell still, the moment trembling on the edge of uncertainty. Could she face that fear? She thought about the kids who would be left without a safe place to play. They all deserved a chance. As Emma searched her heart for an answer, she felt the weight of everyone's hopes and dreams resting on her shoulders. Would she risk breaking their spirits by admitting her own uncertainties? Before she could respond, she noticed Tommy standing there, his small hand gripping the edge of his seat. The look on his face was fierce, determined. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just her answer that mattered, but the commitment of every single person in that room. Determined, Emma spoke up again, "It starts with us, right here, right now. And if we build it, they will come." The uncertain atmosphere shifted as the crowd began to buzz with renewed energy. Emma could almost feel the tide turning, each whispered word another brick in the foundation of hope. But just as the excitement in the room built to a crescendo, a shadow flickered at the back entrance. Emma turned, heart racing, to see a new figure step through the door, a stranger whose presence suddenly changed everything. Who could they be, and what did they want? The stranger stood just inside the doorway, a hesitant but resolved look on their face. Emma's heart raced as she met their gaze. The dim light of the room caught the glint of something shiny in the stranger's hand, a clipboard, covered in papers. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd as they turned their attention, curiosity palpable in the air. "Can I help you?" Emma asked, her own voice betraying a blend of intrigue and caution. "I'm sorry to interrupt," the stranger said, their voice steady yet tinged with a hint of urgency. "I'm Alex. I heard about the community center meeting and felt compelled to come." Emma's instincts kicked in. "Compelled? Why?" "I used to struggle like many of you do. I grew up in this neighborhood, and I know how much these centers mean for kids." Alex stepped further inside, their eyes scanning the room filled with parents, hope, and a sense of rekindled community. "There's power in places like this, and I want to help." The crowd quieted, hanging on every word. Emma's heart fluttered at the sincerity in Alex's voice. "How do you plan to help?" Alex took a deep breath. "I've been doing community outreach for a local nonprofit. We connect with businesses willing to sponsor and support initiatives like yours. I want to partner and help establish a grant to get this going." A buzz of excitement coursed through the room, whispers of potential filling the air like a gentle breeze. There appeared to be something powerful in Alex's presence, stirring a collective determination. The man who had raised doubts earlier leaned forward, his brow furrowed but intrigued. "What kind of support are you talking about exactly?" "I can guide you through the process of applying for funds, help organize community events that draw attention and people," Alex replied, their gaze steady and earnest. This can be a community-driven effort, but it needs the right push. I can help with that push. As Emma listened, the faces around her brightened, parents exchanging looks of hope. The crushing weight of uncertainty shifted, replaced by the thrills of possibility. For the first time in what felt like forever, Emma felt the tides turning in their favor. What do we need to do? Mrs. Hargrove asked eagerly, leaning forward with her hands clasped together. First, we need a solid plan, a vision. If we can present what this center could offer, we can attract interest from both the community and local businesses. We'll organize a fundraiser, some promotional events. We can showcase our kids and their talents while also bringing in funds to keep it afloat, Alex explained. A chorus of agreement echoed through the crowd. Emma could see determination solidifying in their faces, igniting flames of creativity. But a small voice piped up from the back, timid yet strong. It was Tommy. What if they say no? What if no one believes us? Everyone fell silent again, the memory of fear creeping back. Emma glanced over at Tommy, who seemed to be wrestling with doubts that mirrored her own from earlier. She felt the weight of his words, and her chest tightened. Tommy, Emma said gently, stepping forward to meet his gaze. What matters is that we believe in ourselves first. We're taking a leap of faith, and that's how real change begins. This is our chance, not just for us, but also for every kid in this community. The room held its breath, every person hanging on to the simplicity and strength of Emma's words. Just as hope began to swell again, Alex stepped forward. This is our moment. Let us show the world that kids like Tommy deserve the best. That sparked a wave of applause, the kind Emma only felt in her dreams. But deep down, a part of her was still afraid. Would it really work? Could they gather enough support? The nagging question spun in her mind. As the energy surged, Emma held on to that nagging doubt while sharing the joy around her. With every handshake and promise, she felt the ground shift beneath them. But as they hatched plans and ideas, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that their newfound hope would be tested in ways they hadn't imagined. Even amidst the excitement, a shadow lingered at the corner of her mind. What if the challenges they faced were far greater than they anticipated? She turned back to Alex, who seemed to sense her worry. Remember, Alex said, their voice reassuring, it's not just about the center. It's about the journey we share as a community. With that, Emma felt a surge of determination mixing with trepidation. Could they really forge their path together? Just then, as everyone continued to discuss ideas, Emma caught sight of someone watching the unfolding scene from the back corner of the room. It was a familiar face from the neighborhood, a woman who had always seemed distant. Emma's heart raced again as the woman stepped forward, her expression unreadable. What did she have to say? Did she have hope or doubts to share? Emma sensed that whatever came next could change everything. The woman stepped into the dim light of the room, her face taut with uncertainty, but there was something else there too, a flicker of determination. Emma recognized her instantly. It was Mrs. Thompson, the quiet mother who rarely spoke at meetings, often sitting in the back, watching as if she were detached from the community. Her son, Jack, had faced bullying for years, and Emma had always felt a heavy sadness when she saw those bruises on his spirit. May I speak? Mrs. Thompson's voice trembled slightly as she cleared her throat. The crowd quieted immediately, the palpable tension shifting toward her. Of course, Mrs. Thompson, Alex encouraged, stepping aside to let her take center stage. I've been coming to these meetings for years, Mrs. Thompson began, meeting Emma's eyes for a moment, then lowering her gaze. And honestly, I've felt lost. Like my voice didn't matter. But seeing all of you here, united, I've realized I've been wrong. Her voice steadied as she looked up, fiery determination igniting her eyes. I want to share something. Emma leaned in, heart racing. What could Mrs. Thompson reveal? Would it be an expression of the community's pain or perhaps a plea for help? My son has been struggling for years, and it breaks my heart. He's been bullied for being different, for being who he is. But the worst part is, he feels alone. Tears glistened in her eyes, and Emma felt a pang of empathy, knowing all too well the impact of loneliness on a child. He deserves a space where he feels safe, a community where he can thrive. And I want to be a part of this. The room listened, every face reflecting understanding and kindness. I'm just one mother, Mrs. Thompson continued, but if we come together, we can show these kids they aren't alone in this. We can create that safe haven they need. It was a bold declaration, yet it carried the weight of every silent struggle shared by the parents present. Emma could see tears forming in some eyes around her, and her own vision blurred with emotion. They were all connected, their fears, hopes, and dreams woven tightly together. Yes. Emma found her voice, buoyed by Mrs. Thompson's strength. We can make a difference. If we stand together, it'll be much harder for anyone to tear us down. The murmurs of agreement swelled. Hands went up, voices grew louder. Ideas were exchanged, plans laid out. Mrs. Thompson, a woman once shy and distant, became a voice of empowerment. But just as the energy reached a peak, Alex's expression shifted subtly, an inkling of concern clouding their brow. While it's wonderful that we are feeling motivated, we need to consider the challenges we might face. The funding, the right partnerships, there will be hurdles. We need to prepare. A wave of silence washed over the room. The enthusiasm lingered, but shadows of uncertainty crept back. Emma's heart sank slightly. As determined as she felt, Alex's warnings gnawed at her. Maybe that's okay? Emma suggested, her voice softer this time. Maybe we start small and let our progress build? We'll face hurdles, but if we believe in each other like we believe in our cause, we'll find a way through. Her gaze drifted to Tommy, who was nodding vigorously. With a deep breath, Mrs. Thompson choked out, if we could, I'd also like to organize something for the kids, something that reminds them they're not alone. A talent show, maybe? A chance to showcase their abilities, their strengths, what they really believe in. Doesn't that sound great? Cheers erupted around the room, energy shifting again, a renewed sense of purpose igniting brighter than before. Then we should make this happen. Someone shouted from the back, and Emma realized how many people were invested and willing to support this initiative. It seemed the fear was dissipating, replaced by something more powerful, hope. As they continued to brainstorm, a flicker of doubt returned to Emma's mind. Would they be able to create something lasting? What if the world outside their bubble didn't accept them? Then, as if sensing her hesitation, Alex covered her hand with theirs. Fear is part of the journey, they said, their voice soft yet insistent. But we have to embrace it together. The atmosphere crackled with possibility, but beneath it lay a current of unspoken fears. It was exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. Before Emma could respond, the door swung open again, this time revealing a figure she never expected. A newspaper reporter, camera in tow, came barging in. I heard there was a community gathering in need of a story, he announced, and Emma's heart plummeted. What did this mean for their plans? Would the community's hopes turn into spectacle? Could they really withstand the pressure of a spotlight? Surely, this was just the beginning, but at what cost? Emma stood at the front of the room, the whirlwind of emotions swirling around her like a storm. 1 minute, they had been riding the crest of anticipation, ready to transform their dreams into reality, and the next, an unsettling tension crept in, darkening the air. The reporter's presence ignited confusion and anxiety among the attendees. Just as Emma felt her throat tighten, Alex moved closer, their calm demeanor pulling Emma back to the moment. This is our chance, they whispered. We can share our story, our mission. But we need to be clear about our vision. With sudden clarity, Emma turned to the crowd. Listen up, everyone. This is our story, a story of hope, determination, and the belief that we can change our little corner of the world. If we can influence anyone outside this room, it's worth it. Let us show them what we're about." Tommy's eyes sparkled with excitement, and Emma could see the innocence in his gaze, the unwavering faith that their efforts mattered. Those bright eyes sparked her confidence, and she stepped forward. "This community deserves a place where every child, every family, can come together and thrive. We're not here just for ourselves, we're here for every single one of you, every kid who feels like they don't belong." As she spoke, the mood began to shift. One by one, nods of agreement washed over the room, encouraging waves unfurling the doubt. The reporter raised an eyebrow, intrigued, camera ready as the crowd leaned in. "So, what's your plan to bring this community center to life?" Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her dreams pressing on her shoulders. "We'll be grassroots, hold fundraisers, partner with local businesses, and connect with nonprofits. We'll show them that every dollar counts, every voice matters." The atmosphere buzzed with renewed enthusiasm as the crowd began to voice their support, chipping in thoughts and ideas. Questions of logistics started being answered, venues for fundraisers, potential sponsors began to take form, and they started sketching plans on the chalkboard at the front of the room. The reporter, captivated by the momentum, moved closer, eager to capture their determination. "This could be a powerful story," he said, his voice steady. "But how will you keep people engaged? How will you turn this into a reality?" "Through commitment," Alex jumped in, their passion infectious. "By building a community that ensures no voice goes unheard, no effort goes unrecognized. It's about creating a family. With a capital F." A cheer erupted from the crowd, and Emma knew this was a defining moment. They were standing together not just as individuals, but as a united front. Each fear shared made them stronger, and she could feel how this surge of hope would change their community. "Let us schedule our first fundraiser," Emma exclaimed, her heart racing. "We'll showcase the talents of the kids, showing the world our joy, creativity, and potential." As the crowd erupted into an array of voices, suggestions flew. Ideas of music festivals, art shows, and community cleanup days blended together into a symphony of empowerment. Emma smiled, her heart soaring. In this chaotic dance of hope, she saw the foundation of their dream beginning to rise. Just as the energy reached its peak, the urgency in Alex's voice broke through, reminding them of the work ahead. "We've got to organize quickly. Time isn't on our side." Emma nodded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. They needed to act, and she felt the momentum behind her. "Let us gather our lists of connections, sponsors, and volunteers. And let us set a date for that first event. We're building this together." Over the next hour, the room buzzed with frantic energy as parents exchanged phone numbers and kids formed teams around various projects. Each person found their role, sparking new ideas that seemed to explode in the air like fireworks. The reporter, now an ally in purpose, began documenting the gathering, excited to present this story to the world. That evening, as they wrapped up, Emma felt invigorated. Her fears about the uncertainty of this journey still flickered at the edges of her heart, but they were no longer silence. They were sparks, pushing her to move forward. She hugged Tommy close, radiating pride. "We did this," he declared proudly, his small voice full of determination. "We really can change things, right?" "Yes, buddy. We're already doing it." Emma ruffled his hair, her spirit buoyed by his confidence. All of their dreams felt alive, pulsating with possibility. Days turned into weeks, and with each update, the community transformed. More families joined, more voices echoed in support. Emma watched as fear began to dissipate, replaced by a tapestry woven from warmth, enthusiasm, and collective action. The day of the community center fundraising event arrived, and the energy surrounding them was electric. Tables filled with homemade treats lined the park, laughter and cheerful chatter filling the air. Emma leaned back for a moment, taking it all in. She felt the weight of love and support around her, the families, friends, and neighbors, their spirits united in a single cause. This was about so much more than her original dream. It was a realization of belonging, connection, and hope. As she caught a glimpse of Tommy, surrounded by friends playing games, her heart was full. The chance to make a real difference, to create a sanctuary for kids just like him, it was happening. They were no longer just waiting for something to change, they were the change. Suddenly, she felt a hand on her shoulder, and she turned to see Mr. Harris standing there, a proud smile on his face. "I couldn't miss this. Emma, you've inspired so many. Together, we're creating something remarkable." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes, her heart swelling with gratitude. They were forging a new path together, a new story beginning to take shape. And in that moment, standing amidst friends, families, and allies, Emma knew that the struggle had been worth every ounce of energy. At that moment, in that thriving sea of people, she realized that transformation meant so much to everyone. Each smile, each hug, and each shared vision culminated into something larger than life itself, something that could ripple out beyond their little town. Together, they would embrace whatever came their way, carving out a legacy built on unity and compassion. So, as they prepared to launch into a day filled with laughter, celebration, and hope, she paused, looking around at the faces that had once seemed distant. She felt something far more significant than doubt or fear. She felt a bond stronger than any obstacle that lay ahead. In that perfect moment, she understood. Change wasn't just possible, it was happening, and she was in the middle of it. With joy filling her heart, Emma took a deep breath, ready to embrace the future. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now. Trust me, you don't want to miss these incredible journeys ahead. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help amplify these stories. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring conclusion. Each response matters, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support this channel. Together, let us make an impact.